Alan Watts was born 6th of January 1915 and was first and foremost a Zenyatta main, long before Zenyatta maining was a thing. 1915 is now widely regarded by many philosophers alive at the time to be a, quote, particularly shit year to be born, given that your introduction to the world was quickly learning that it was in the middle of 1v1ing itself. Queue times were wild, lobbies were in their millions, and matchmaking was completely broken. Basically, Germany was in for some really heavy nerfs. Though we did get the Winston skateboard emote, to much rejoicing. Despite an unfortunate spawn though, and the dev team doing their best to annihilate him, Watts managed to become something of an iconic thinker around the world, becoming popular in the US, giving lectures in California and New York, and hosting a weekly radio show in Berkeley, writing some 25 books and articles on religion and philosophy. Now, with the rise of the internet, Watts has become a cult following even now. His lectures and work uploaded countless times, and worryingly I've seen completely fabricated shorts saying vaguely Wattsian-like things with AI. He even got a small cameo posthumously in the movie Her. Why is it always Watts? He's basically a modern-day Nietzsche at this point, though far less depressing. Watts had 7 children, 5 of them from 2 of the 3 times he married, gaining him a reputation as a bit of a womanizer and a rebel, which it seems that he was. One of his lovers, Jean Burden, described him as a very difficult man to be in love with. She said he was a rogue, that he drank too much, and that women were catnip to him. Finally, she said, I couldn't reconcile his moral hypocrisy, though he was, quote, one of the most fascinating men I have ever met. Certainly his thinking was away from the shores of the British peers at the time, which is understandable. One look at what passes for entertainment or philosophy in the UK should send any sane man running. His rapscallion ways would brush up against a few Zen teachers, one of whom critiqued Watts' suggestion that you can meditate sitting however you like. And this relaxed attitude to religion, dogma, and etiquette runs through Watts' whole view.
And here I would interpose the essential principle that meditation is supposed to be fun. It's not something you do as a grim duty. The trouble with religion as we know it is that it is so mixed up with grim duties. We do it because it's good for you. It's a kind of self-punishment. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now. And brings us into a state of peace where we can understand that the point of life, the place where it's at, is simply here and now.
For me, that's Watts at his best. He remembers the humanity of what he's talking about. It's real, it's not choreographed or scripted or some kind of rules-based system of self-flagellation. It's just human. I don't want to overwhelm you with info in this video, but just talk about the core starter concepts, in the hopes that if you like what you hear, you might go seek out Watts for yourself. He certainly got me through years of retail work in my early 20s, and when I just couldn't drift off after a caffeine-fueled shift at CAX, Watts would lull me back to sleep with his signature, bassy, relaxed way of speaking. The first core concept of Buddhism and Zen you should know and might have heard of is yin and yang, 2 contradictory but complementary forces in the universe whose interplay affects everything in it. The idea behind the symbol being that light goes with dark and dark goes with light, good alongside bad and bad alongside good. And this yin-yang balance is something that's changed a lot over the years in Overwatch. Thankfully, this abomination never made it out of closed beta, but long-time players of the game will remember whole team reses that you used to be able to pull off as mercy. The same principle applies with character design in Overwatch. From their cooldowns to their aesthetics to their abilities, all of it needs calibrating properly, which is hard to do with a roster of now over 40 unique heroes. Too much one way and a character dominates the meta, too little the other and they become unplayable. But that sense of characters having easily identifiable strengths and weaknesses was a lot easier to understand when I first picked up the game back in 2016. We see it in the lore too, and you can't have the Overwatch good guys without the Talon bad guys, and how they all shape the world through their thoughts, methodologies and actions. Zen and Ramatra are probably the most obvious illustration of this contrast and interplay, and as a wildly inaccurate TLDR, Overwatch was formed after GPT came out, and some people immediately started calling it a clanker and mistreating it, leading the Omnics to demand rights of their own, which not everybody agreed with. Lol. Silly Overwatch universe. We'd never see that kind of thing in the real world, would we? Zenyatta wants to bring humanity and Omnics together, but Ramatra wants humanity destroyed. Or at least he's quite content for them to destroy themselves, and then the Omnics can rise from the ashes. Now you might be thinking at this point, this is all very good and well, Splinch, but how's it going to improve my SR? To which I would say, it won't. If you want to get better at Overwatch, go see Emon, or Flats, or Spylo. I'm currently a Silver 3 Pharamane. I really can't help you. But for Watson Buddhism, that's the point, and it leads us neatly on to our next one. Desire and Samsara. The eternal cycle of queuing up, spawning in, dying and respawning. Or as us Overwatch players know it, competitive mode. In one of his lectures, Watts recounts a tale about a group of students who go and see a Zen monk, who says to them, if you suffer, it's because you desire, so you must give up desiring. The students go away and they jump on desire, stamp on desire, throw out desire, until one of them returns to the master and says, I just can't do it. Despite everything, I can't help but still desire things. And the master replies, nah, but you're still desiring not to desire. And the student wonders how to get rid of that one. So it is with Ranked. If we do a little bit of editing, we can use the Wheel of Samsara to explain the different ranked tiers in Overwatch. First of all, we have Bronze, the Hell Realm. This is suffering incarnate. This is the 9th circle of Overwatch. At the lower tiers, people are literally still figuring out the buttons. Your tank's internet is probably powered by a hamster, and your Torbjorn has a suspicious affinity for walking off the map or straight into traffic. Comms are non-existent, beyond slurs in the text chat, and if you're here, like I am on support, I'm sorry. Silver, the Hungry Ghost Realm. Ooh, okay, look at you. You can maintain a stable ping, and you might even hit a stationary headshot once in a while. You're not terrible anymore, at least not as terrible as you could be, but unfortunately for a lot of silver players, ego is probably still holding you back. Obviously, you being dead 16 times is somehow my fault, and staggering in 1v5 is a viable strategy. It's definitely not you, King. It's everybody else's fault. It's always everybody else's fault. Gold, the Animal Realm. Here, we see the first glimmers of hope and sentience starting to emerge. Your Hanzo can probably hit the broadside of an ocean liner once in a while, and games start to feel a little bit better. There's hope at last, maybe. In Gold, however, from my experience, people's egos still seem to be pretty fragile, and they'll crash out after losing the first team fight or if they didn't get the map pick they liked. Platinum, the Human Realm. Plat is where most players live, apparently. I think I'm pretty good at video games, but I tend to live in gold and silver. So here we see my peak at Plateau, my personal source of suffering as I try to get back to it. Diamond, the Asura realm. Here live the demons, or demigods, depending on your assessment. In this tier, you'll start to see truly scary Widowmakers who'll take your head off for one wrong move. Voice chat at this level becomes the norm. People here are very mechanically gifted and know the ins and outs of their heroes in the game very well. Masters, Grandmasters, and Top 500. The Deva realm. The realm of the gods, representing less than 5% of the player base. These people are barely human, mechanical nutcases who sleep on bedding made of patch notes and exist on a diet of caffeine and Adderall. At Top 500, they get to see their name on the prestigious leaderboard and might even do this full-time professionally with coaching. They're just built differently. Or are they? After all, they're still playing, even if it takes 4 hours to get a match. The only difference between us and them really is skill, discipline, dedication, communication, and several hundred, if not thousands of hours of practice. So not much then. All Buddhism, all Watts can ever hope to really give us is a shortcut back to the real world. Our desires to be a higher rank or become a pro Genji or us getting frustrated at our tanks just makes us all play worse and enjoy the game less. And as Watts would put it, raging at your teammates is like trying to smooth rough water with a flat iron. You're just going to disturb it all the more. His suggestion: that you shut up.
That is to say, that we become interiorly silent and cease from the interminable chatter that goes on inside our skulls. Because, you see, most of us think compulsively all the time. That is to say, we talk to ourselves. And I remember when I was a boy, we had a common saying, talking to yourself is the first sign of madness. Now, obviously, if I talk all the time, I don't hear what anyone else has to say. And so in exactly the same way, if I think all the time, that is to say, if I talk to myself all the time, I don't have anything to think about except thoughts. And therefore I'm living entirely in the world of symbols, and I'm never in relationship with reality. And so likewise, when we are dancing, we are not aiming to arrive at a particular place on the floor, as we would be if we were taking a journey. When we dance, the journey itself is the point. When we play music, the playing itself is the point. And exactly the same thing is true in meditation. Meditation is the discovery that the point of life is always arrived at in the immediate moment. And therefore, if you meditate for an ulterior motive, that is to say, to improve your mind, to improve your character, to be more efficient in life, you've got your eye on the future and you are not meditating. Because the future is a concept. It doesn't exist. As the proverb says, tomorrow never comes. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There never will be, because time is always now. And that's one of the things we discover when we stop talking to ourselves and stop thinking. We find there is only a present, only an eternal now.
Before we end, I'd just like to say a really big thank you to everyone who's watched my stuff recently. My content's been getting some good numbers on the shorts game, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. I don't think that I can do Overwatch content all the time. I'd go mad and get bored, so don't be surprised if I branch out into some other things. I'm not sure what I want to do with the channel yet, but I'll just upload what I want to upload when I want to upload it. so you might get some random ones in there. And if you really want to rank up, my only suggestion would be that you get a good team going. That'll be far more rewarding than solo queuing with whichever clowns the matchmaking system decided you need to carry today. Alrighty then. Now, go meditate, or watch some Watts videos, or go queue ranked, or touch grass, or go to sleep, or hydrate. I don't know. I'm not your mother. Just look after yourselves. Namaste.